Hey everyone, welcome to Our Small Footprint. My name is Nyssa, and if you're new here, we are a family of 8 who live off-grid in Australia. Now, I have been slack again. I know I get told not to call myself slack, but I have. Normally, post my 6-weekly grocery trip, I then start churning out some videos every day to every couple of days. It sort of helps build the momentum as well, because YouTube likes consistency. So the more I post, the more YouTube is likely to put my videos in front of people. And whilst, as I've always said, that this is done because I wanted to create the community and I enjoy the sharing and all the rest of it, it's also pretty much a job too, because it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort to continue to do this on a regular basis. And if I wasn't earning an income from it, I probably wouldn't do it anywhere near as consistently as I do. So I normally try and take advantage of the fact that I get a whole bunch new views from my grocery hauls and things like that, because I only do them every 6 weeks. And I know a lot of these channels take off who do grocery hauls, but most of them do grocery hauls really regularly, which helps to continue that momentum of their channel. And I don't have that. I can't shop more often than I do. And part and parcel of the way we live is to share by not doing it, by not convenience shopping, by going to a grocery store every 6 weeks and then using what we have and making use of that. Now I'm in a kind of a different position right now, and the water pump's just gone on, which you would have heard too. It's raining, so the weather has been crappy as well. We've had some, of course, mind you, I'm nowhere near the roosters and they've still come to say hello because I'm chatting. So I'm underneath my kitchen space here, my grubby old kitchen space that is not the greatest backdrop, but eventually that will be better too. But for the moment, this is what we have. And I'm just sort of standing out here doing what needs to be done, and I have notes, but I have notes here. There's 10 pages of notes for 4 or 5 videos that I haven't released. So that's what I'm trying to get through. But it does mean that a lot of my intros and stuff are going to be me in this same space, dressed the same, doing the intros for them, because I just need to get the voiceovers done. So I'm running in a little bit of trouble. We've just had our winter solstice, so theoretically the days are going to get longer from this point forward. But up until now, it's been really hard. That you don't want to get out of bed early because it's cold, like really cold, like -5 at 7 o'clock in the morning. And inside our house is only sort of 10 maybe, because we have such a small space. It's really hard to stoke our fire heavily for a nighttime. So Darryl does it before he comes to bed, but it just doesn't hold over all night. Well, it does, because it's 10 degrees instead of -5, but it doesn't hold to warm because it's just not, it's too small a space that we're heating, and if you overstoked it, it'd be too hot. So now we've got planes going over for some reason. There is a military thing somewhere nearby, so we get jets and stuff going over too. So we've got the roosters going off, planes going over, cold weather, so I'm stuck in this little spot because it's raining. So I didn't want to go out into the yard, and it is Apollo's 12th birthday today, so I am baking his cake as well as doing all the normal food prep and filming that food prep as well. So I was going to come in and do one of these voiceovers and release it tonight or whatever, but what I might do is just do this little bit of a chat and catch up. It's really easy to edit and get it up and for you to say hi, and then I'm going to stand here and do these voiceovers while the cake is baking, and I'm going to be cooking off some other stuff, so there'll be some kitchen noise, but that's fine because it's a wet weather, cold day. All the kids are inside. Apollo's birthday, so we've got a new game for his computer, so they're all inside playing on games, and that's fine for the moment. We're going to have to turn the generator on eventually though, so I need to get this done before we need to turn the generator on, because otherwise there'll be noise of that. So all the brilliant things of being off grid and stuff like that. So I haven't done a chat video in a bit because I haven't been doing much in the way of videos, and I did my grocery trip. So what happened on the grocery trip that I wanted to share? We got the wood stove, so I'll put a photo in here. I put it up on Facebook and Instagram. It's really nice. It's a Everhot 150, which is actually not a model that they sell many of the parts for anymore, which is unfortunate. I'm trying to track down, there is a guy selling an old one of the same oven about 3 hours away. I'm trying to track him down to see if we can get that off him, and then I'll have 2 to be able to interchange parts. I'm only missing a couple of pieces off this one, and we got it really cheap. We got it for $375, which is super cheap for a wood stove. We don't have a flue yet, so I have to source that. And there's a couple of bits and pieces that there's no ash grate, and one of the fire bricks is missing, so we need to do that. but also the baffle in the flue. I don't know if it's called a baffle it looks like a fan fins, whereas the baffle in our heating stove is a metal plate. But anyway, I'd say it's the same thing, works the same way. To adjust the airflow is stuck, a bit of rust, so we'll need to oil that up and get that moving again too, which is fine. But really excited to have that. It's in undercover now, and that's great. Darryl had to go into Toowoomba yesterday as well for a doctor's appointment and take Apollo because it was his birthday. So Apollo and Sonnet went as well to go shopping and things like that. And I managed to find on Marketplace a new sewing cabinet and a new cutting table so that I can set that up, which I'm really excited about too. I have fabric from when we moved out here, so we've just had our 5-year anniversary of being out here, which I kind of forgot and didn't do anything about. But at the beginning of June is when we moved out here 5 years ago. And I brought with me all my fabric because I used to make all the kids' clothes. I'll put a couple of pics in here of what I used to do. So I used to make all the kids' clothing. And then when we got out here, there just wasn't any room to do anything. But I didn't want to get rid of the fabric because I'd invested heavily in it. So, we kept it. So we've had those crates of fabric neatly packed in and around the kids' beds, like under the beds and up the side of the beds, the bunk beds and stuff, taking up room, but not wanting to get rid of them because they were an investment. They were a lot of money back then, and they don't resell for anywhere near the same value as what you purchase them for, because a lot of them were customs when customs were a really big thing. So it'll be really nice to have space to set up my sewing machines and stuff, and I can make the kids really easy, quick dresses, skirts, shorts and things like that to go with their wardrobe. I also have some food grade PUL that I want to make myself some food covers for my bowls and my trays that I proof bread and stuff in, because I can't get anything that's the right shape and size for my bowls. Like for a long one, for a rectangular one, like what I put my focaccias in and things like that. So I've got some food grade PUL to do that with as well, but also the places that I've been setting up to print and heat my mugs and stuff that I've been doing all the sampling of. I have to walk around things to get to it, so we want to try and reorganize it a bit so that it's a bit more of an open workspace. We don't have a lot of room at the moment, obviously, because there's 8 of us living in a fairly small space, so it's trying to shuffle stuff around that works. Eventually, once we get this pantry built, maybe with a tax return we'll be able to swing that. We'll see. Once we get the pantry built, the top half of the house that currently has food shelving and stuff on it that isn't sealed, we're going to seal that all off, and a lot of the kids' recreational stuff can move out there, their computer desks and all that sort of thing for all their school. It'll be a lot better. We can have bookcases set up near the computers with all their books and stuff in it, whereas I have a lot of their school books in my space at the moment because it's the easiest place to be able to access them for me to reference them and then give them to the kids and things like that. So to have them in bookcases near where their computers are and stuff will be good. And they all have, I have collections of scrapbooks and notebooks and packs of lead pencils and packs of coloured pencils and packs of texters and all that sort of thing, all in the shelving in my space because that's the best place to keep it. At the moment, it'd be nice to get it all out in cupboards and shelves out near where they actually use their services. They don't actually have a big crafting table or anything at the moment. They use the kitchen table. They've got desks with all their computers on it, and they can move the keyboards. I bought the shelves, so the monitors are up on the shelf, and then you put the keyboard underneath. So they have desk space in front of them for all their writing and stuff, but it's not any real large crafting space or anything. So it'd be nice to get a big table up there as well, so they can have a crafting space and things like that, rather than using my dining table because it's the dining table. But yeah, so anyway, rambling, squirreling. That's going to happen. When that happens, we'll have more space in the other part of the house and I can spread out a little bit more, but for the moment I'm making do. We do have some issues with the roof leaking when it rains, so we have to be aware of that when we're putting stuff in certain places too, because you have to be able to cover or shift that just in case the roof leaks. It's to do with the fact that the 3 buildings that we live in all used to be one building, but they get separated before they were relocated, and we didn't put them back together the exact same way that they were originally, and they're on concrete piers. That's what they sit on, and the concrete piers have shifted slightly. There's a little bit of a gap, and the back of the building where there is a gutter, we put a gutter on it because it's off the roof line, except that there used to be other building there, so it's leaking through some gaps in the flashing, we think, or the gutters are overflowing into the flashing and then it's leaking the roof. Anyway, all sorts of things that we're trying to work through eventually, but it's all just, you know, it is what it is and all that. So, what else did we have going on? So, Apollo's birthday today, as I said, he's 12 today, which is, you know, kind of scary. And he has requested, he bought a couple of games and some online, like in-game currency that he wanted for his games that they're all playing. And the other thing is Darryl and he are going shopping for a bow. He wants to learn archery, so they're going to get a beginner bow set so that he can learn some archery out on the property, which will be fun. Any sort of physical skill set like that, I always enjoy when they want to do something like that. That's a present I approve of. So we're going to do that. He did want a VR headset, but I said no. I was not the favourite mum for that, but I said no, and I'm sticking to it. I'm not capitulating. That is not something that he needs or is good for him, and he can wait until he's old enough to purchase it himself. So, but we got the game stuff, so we got some in-game currency for games, and he bought his sister some Sonnet, some as well, so they could play together and things like that. So that's fine. So they're having a lazy day with the computers. We allowed them to skip some schooling today because we school year round. It gives us the ability, we don't have school holidays as such, so it gives us the ability to have days or weeks where things are just too busy to get stuff done, and then we pick it back up again. So they're having a day free today while I try and get some other stuff done. And we made hamburger rolls. If you've followed me on Instagram or Facebook, you would have seen that he didn't request his dinner meal until like 7 o'clock last night. So at 5, it was 5 degrees out here, and I'm out here mixing up sourdough hamburger bun dough for him so that he could have hamburgers for tonight, but that's fine. Chocolate cake being made too. That was the request. He did request blue icing, but we shall see, because I got the cake made awfully late in the day and it has to be cold to be able to ice it, so we will see how we go with that one. Anything else? We haven't gone any further with the garden. I found a guy to get some IBCs off, but we need to rearrange the front yard first. So we have a front, sort of a turnaround out the front in the driveway. It's just sand like the rest of the property, and there's a lot of stuff that needs to be taken to the tip. We have some community bins that we can take general household rubbish to, some skip bins that are about 15 minutes away, so when Darryl goes into town or if he's going to the bore for water or anything, he just takes garbage bags of household rubbish there. But when we get some excess bulkier type stuff, then we have to put that somewhere else. So sorry, interrupted. So yes, we have to move stuff, take stuff somewhere else. So we're going to, now that we've got the new trailer, which is larger than our other smaller trailer that has the IBC on it, Darryl's going to do a few loads to the tip, which is about 40 minutes away, so it's just a big job. We'll fill the back of the ute up, fill the trailer up as well with all the big bulky rubbish that needs to be removed, and then we've got some piles of timber and stuff and some roofing iron and things like that, all in different parts of the front bit that allows like around the outside edge of the turnaround. So we're going to stack all that down the side of the house as well, so that we can see what we've got left and how much we've got of what we have, but it's also out of that front section, and then that way we can get the IBCs delivered and stacked out the front there so that we can cut them in half and use them for the wicking beds. I'm going to order more of the metal garden beds, but I'm just going to order them 2 at a time because it's $200 for 2 of them, so we'll just order them 2 at a time over the next couple of months, and that gives me time to fill each set of them before I get the next ones too. But we're going to need a soil delivery of some sort too, which I'm still working on, and so we're going to need somewhere for that to be dumped as well, so for a truck to come in and dump it for us. So we need to clear up the wood chips that we've got there, and that's probably where we'll put the soil, but the wood chips need to be used in paths and in the garden beds and things like that, because we're going to use some straw as suggested. A whole bunch of people suggested using more straw, so we'll get a nice big round bale of straw to use, and the wood chips in there as a nice friable layer, I suppose, in there, and then we'll put the good quality soil on top, though I'm looking at buying topsoil and adding amendments to it because that looks like all I can get my hands on, but that's fine. That's for another, we've still got time for that. As I said, we've only just had the winter solstice yesterday, so it's still plenty of time before we get gardens. We quite often get frosts all the way through to September, early October, so we don't get frost sensitive plants out into the garden until October, so we've got plenty of time to get that sorted. But I would like to get some of my, I've still got seedlings sitting in pots, and I keep on taking up bigger and bigger pots, but they're not going to flourish unless I can get them in the ground. So I do need to get a couple of those beds done at least for some of those winter crops to go into, the cabbages and things like that I've got sitting there. So that's what I'm working on at the moment anyway. We just might have to buy some bagged soil for a few of them just to get those seedlings into somewhere that they can grow. Also, with the whole getting interrupted, because I got interrupted, I checked the temperature on the barbecue and we'd run out of gas. So let's see how these cakes go. You have to follow me on Instagram or Facebook, or it'll be in one of my, the meal prep videos later on in next week or whatever, by the time I get all this edited to show you. So the birthday cake may not be, ideal. But anyway, so I just wanted to update you all, let you all know that everything's still chugging along. I'm still filming all the meal prep and the planning and the preservation of all the food. We've done cowboy candy, we've done zucchini butter, we've done flavored salts. I did mushroom salt, bacon salt, and a smoked rosemary citrus salt. So I've got all those videos done, and I've even got the notes for all of that. I just haven't got the chance to record the speech and then edit the videos, so I am getting there. We made more frozen guacamole. I've done a whole bunch of stuff. I just haven't had a chance to release it. And as I said, I'm a little bit disappointed in myself because normally I use it as a bit of a momentum thing after the grocery haul video, and it helps with my uptick of views and helps those videos do better. I really don't know how to get seen more on YouTube, and I'm not a salesperson or a marketing guru or anything like that. I have just seen that this has the potential for me to become what I can do and share and earn enough from it that it allows me to enjoy doing it and to do it. It's hard to explain. It's become a bit of a job as much as I enjoy doing it, and it is nice to earn money from something that I enjoy. I think that's what it comes down to. I'd like to continue doing this, and to continue doing this I need to remove some other requirements, and to do that I need to earn money doing it. So even though I do what I can when I can, it is still a bit of it's always in the back of my mind about how I can do it to make sure that it's doing it optimally, and I still fail at that badly, because I know, like, my little statistics things tell me that nearly everyone is on it like between 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning, and then I get to videos like this and it's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't think it's that late. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and by the time I get it edited and out, it'll be this evening, which half my viewers aren't even online, and so then that causes issue. It's it's all too hard. I am going to do a bit of a chat video too sometime over the next couple of weeks about the whole 5 years. So I did a 4-year video, but by the time I tried to collate it all, it ended up being a lot of photos with not much else, because it ended up too big. It was just too big. If it's not children, it's animals. There was a couple of roosters having a squabble, so I just wanted to make sure that they were all good. So it ended up too hard to collate into anything. But now that we've had the 5 years, what I'd like to do is sit down, have a bit of a chat about what we might have changed, what we might have done differently, and what we've learned over the 5 years and things like that. I do look at a lot of other people who are in homesteads and things like that, though I still find this very difficult to call a homestead, who've been off-grid for a large period of time and what they've accomplished. And I don't feel like we've accomplished a whole lot in the scope of what I would have liked to. But we also had 6 very small children doing it on next to no money with next to no machinery, and I think we've done really well, and that's whole progress, not perfection, and all the rest of it. But I feel like I sometimes look at other people sharing, and gardens and stuff, because my gardens failed this year. That has really thrown my feelings of success completely out the window. To not even be able to have a garden as a homesteader is just like... But anyway, but I did think I'd have a chat, because the trials and tribulations of the 5 years off-grid and the 5 years with 6 small children who aren't so small anymore, but Kavik's 7, so he was only 2 when we moved out here. So like they were 2, 3, 5, 6 and 9 or 10 or something. Like they were little, and it made it hard. And then all the things that we've gone through with the whole change of that whole sea change isn't as easy as people think. Like, people sit there and go, you just do a sea change and everything will improve. And hey, yeah, lots of things improve, but there's a lot of work that goes into doing that sea change, a lot of mental load that is required to get past when you do that sea change. So anyway, I've squirreled again. So I'm going to do that anyway in the next couple of weeks. I've got 4 or 5 videos ready to go. I'm going to try and get them done so that I can get them out day by day by day, because then that way it helps with the, sorry, my timer just went off for the cake that's not cooked because the barbecue ran out of gas. But the algorithms having daily videos is beneficial for it because it helps with the algorithms on YouTube. So that's what I'm going to try and do, is I'm going to try and get all these done, and then I'm just going to schedule them all up so they come out every day in order. So that the stuff, so some of the stuff that I did just before I went on my shopping trip, I have to get those videos out before I can show you the food prep, because they directly impact stuff that I'm using, like the seasoned salts and that I did the day before I went on my shopping trip, but then I'm using them in all this food prep and stuff, so I need to get that video out before I start showing you the food prep, because otherwise it doesn't make any sense. So I need to get these out in order, so I have them in date order. I do all my videos in date order, except for these chats. So I will get them out. We'll get moving again, and everything will not stay on track, because that doesn't happen for me. I did see a quote the other day, and I thought I might try and do a design up with my squirrel on it, because I thought it's so apt, and it was something along the lines of, I don't have ducks and they're not in a row. I have squirrels and they're at a rave. So something along those lines, I think, is very, very apt for me, that I try really hard to have things in a row and planned and out on time, and not only in the YouTube world, but in a lot of other things as well. And it just doesn't seem to happen. So that is just the way it is. And so yeah, so I just thought I'd quickly do a catch up with you. I've got the photos in of the new sewing cabinet and the new cutting table and the new wood stove. I didn't put a photo of the trailer. I'll put a photo of the trailer in as well. So we got the trailer. We're planning on turning that into a mobile cold room. So that is a 2x2 trailer. It's all steel, blue scope steel, which is great. So now I just have to get the insulated panels. We'll get 75mm steel-faced insulated panels and create a box. Getting a door is going to be the harder part, and then we're going to decide whether we cool it. If we cool it, we might use a CoolBot and a mini split system or something like that. And then I can take it to and from shopping and fill that up, which would be wonderful in summer. Not such a big deal in winter, but in summer, amazing. And then we can park it here with the cooler going, and all the fresh fruit and veg will last so much longer if we can have this cool room running at, say, 8 degrees with all the cabbages and everything else in it. They will last through fresh for those 6 weeks much better, and maybe we can kick that grocery shop out a bit longer, which will be less travel, less issues with the car, like less mileage on the car, and a better use of our time is what it comes down to. Not that the 6 weeks is not too bad, but if we could kick it out a little bit longer, I find that the more often if I can kick it out longer, I find that my weekly spend reduces, because it's just the way it works, by buying in bulk. My only concern would be is that if we kicked it out too much longer, we might miss some seasonally available fruit and veg. Like if you're not going into Brisbane, if you're only going every, say, 8 to 10 weeks, probably all right. But if you're going 12 weeks, every 3 months, you might miss some windows of certain fruit. We already miss them to a degree, because they might be on special the week before, and they're not quite on special when we go down there. But the 6 weeks seems to work fairly well. Anyway, I'm rambling again. So I'm going to leave it here, and I will catch up with you on the next video. Thanks for listening to me ramble again today. Bye, guys.